Welcome back to Cinnamon Roll Adventures. If you're new here, hi, my name is Cinnamon Roll and I'm building a school bus into a home. And if you've been watching the entire time, welcome back. So in last week's video, my brother and I did the roof raise. We didn't get all the hat channel filler pieces in place though, so that was the next item on my list. I used the same method here that I did in my last video where I used a board to keep everything aligned while I welded these hat channel pieces into place. Once all the hat channel pieces were welded into place, I used this primer to stop everything from rusting and to also keep everything protected from the elements. So I bought some sheets of metal for the outside of the bus, but I needed a way to elevate them so that it would make it easier on my back when I was painting and sanding and whatever else I needed to do. So I built this really quick and dirty frame to serve that purpose. So initially I had a different process, but by the time I finished, these are the products that I was using to prep the metal for installation. So the metal that I used on the outside of the bus is 18 gauge galvanized steel. These particular ones came in 4-foot widths and either 8 or 10-foot lengths. Galvannealed would have been a better choice because that's what the vast majority of the bus is made of, but unfortunately I was unable to find it in the area that I live. This meant that I had to prime the metal with a self-etching primer. So my process for this was to first rinse off any dirt and grime. Next, I sanded with 120 grit on my random orbital sander, and then I cleaned with a degreaser, followed by another rinse. Once the sheets were dry enough, I would come in with my spray can, and I sprayed one side completely, and I only sprayed the edges of the other side. The completely painted side of the sheet would go to the inside of the bus, and the partially painted side would go to the outside. Some of the sheets of metal had to be trimmed to size, and you guys have seen me do this before. Measure, cut, you know, the usual. The only thing that I wish I did differently was instead of using a grinder to make all my cuts, I should have used a jigsaw with a metal blade in it. It would have been a lot easier, a lot less sparks, but you know, I used what I had. had to get this back piece of metal into place, and I thought I could do it by myself. So first I tried to come from the inside, and then when that didn't work, I tried coming from the outside. But I couldn't find a good way to hold the piece of metal in place while I curved it around the outside of the bus. And so I called in some help. So everyone, say hello to my dad. So we hummed and hawed and scratched our heads, and eventually this is the solution we came up with. We figured out that we could hold up the piece of metal with some 2x4s, and then use straps to pull the metal around the curves on the edges of the bus. In this way, we were able to slide the metal up underneath the top lip of the roof. During all of this, I also recruited the help of my mum, so everybody say hello to my mum. She gave us a hand with this, which is greatly appreciated. Once the sheet of metal was in place, then I had to fasten it to the bus. So for this, I used 1/4 inch diameter by 1/2 inch long rivets. I made sure that these were closed end pop rivets. I started drilling holes with a 17/64 inch drill bit. So this drill bit is 1/64 of an inch larger than a 1/4 inch. This is a trick that I learned from Cassady, where he talked about how using a 1/4 inch drill bit makes it very difficult to put a 1/4 inch rivet into the hole. That extra 1/64 of an inch just gives you a little bit of wiggle room so you can slide the rivet in much easier. I saw lots of people on YouTube using ratchet straps to pull the sheets up onto the side of the bus, but they never really explain how they do that. So at first I put the straps on the outside of the sheet, and it just flipped over on me when I tried to lift it. So next I tried putting one strap on the inside and one strap on the outside. And I don't know exactly what I was expecting out of that, but it certainly didn't work. So once again I consulted with my dad, and he came up with the idea of why don't we put some pieces of metal on the outside of the bus for the sheet to slide up against. So we tried that, and it didn't work the first time, but we were onto something. So we reset and tried again, and it went up perfectly. And once I had the sheet where I wanted it, I riveted it in place. That's a hard thing to say, riveted. Riveted. So you can see that the sheet of metal didn't want to lay flat, so I used a bolt and a nut to pull everything tight while I riveted things in place. Now if I was smart, I would have used self-tapping, self-drilling screws because they would hold everything tighter. But I didn't think about that at the time, so this was the solution I had. And it was right about here where I ran out of rivets and had to order some more, so I moved on to the next thing. So I decided that I was going to do a sloped roof on the front of this bus, just to help with wind resistance when I'm driving along. Unfortunately, this is a pretty complicated thing to do, and again, this is one of those things that most people online just don't describe how to do, so I just had to figure it out. So my first thought was, well, maybe I'll try templating. This turned out to be a complete waste of time, but you'll see why in another video. So I busted out a roll of tape and I started building a template from scratch. I spent hours building this. And even though making this tape template was kind of a waste of time, at the very least, it helps you to kind of visualize what the front will look like when it's all done in metal. And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, I would be very appreciative if you'd consider liking and subscribing. It's not mandatory, but I do appreciate it, and it does help this channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching, enjoy your day, and I'll see you next time.